There is a day you are supposed to celebrate, a day everyone tells you is yours, but what if you dread it? What if your birthday feels like a spotlight burning into your skin? What if it is not joy you feel, but something darker? Today, we're going inside the minds of people who hide from their own birthdays. This isn't about being introverted or humble. This is about something much deeper, something most people won't admit. And it starts with a question nobody asks. Why does the day you were born feel like a punishment? Let's start with a memory you might recognize. You are sitting at a restaurant, the lights dim. Waiters approach your table. They're holding a cake. They're singing. Everyone is staring at you. Your heart starts racing. You smile, but inside you are screaming. This isn't joy. This is exposure. This is vulnerability without consent. You didn't ask for this moment, yet here it is. Your face burns, your throat tightens, you want to disappear, and everyone around you thinks you are just being shy, but this isn't shyness. This is something far more complex. It is a rejection of the self being celebrated, because deep down, you don't believe you deserve to be seen, not like this, not when you haven't earned it. And that is where the darkness begins, in the belief that your existence alone isn't enough, that simply being alive isn't worthy. You look at the people singing to you, they seem happy. They seem genuine. However, you feel like a fraud. You feel like they're celebrating someone who doesn't exist. A version of you that is acceptable. A version that isn't real. So you smile wider, you play the part. But inside, you are counting the seconds until this moment ends. This is the first layer, the surface wound. The one everyone can see if they look closely enough. But beneath it, there is something else. A memory, a pattern, a ghost that never left your childhood bedroom. Let me take you there now. To the place where this all began. To the birthday that taught you something terrible. You were young, maybe 6, maybe 9, maybe 12. The age doesn't matter as much as what happened. You woke up excited. Today was supposed to be your day. Your parents promised. Your friends would come over. But then something shifted. Your mother was stressed. Your father was angry. They were fighting about money, about logistics. Your birthday became their burden, their argument, their stress. And you became the reason they were suffering today. You heard it in their voices. You saw it in their eyes. This celebration wasn't about you. It was about them. It was about your mother's need to prove she was a good parent. Your father's obligation to provide something special. You stopped being a person. You became a project, a task to complete, a box to check off. And when your friends didn't show up, or when your parents forgot the candles, or when the cake was wrong, you learned something devastating. You learned that your needs were secondary, that your disappointment was inconvenient, that your joy was negotiable. So you stopped asking for celebrations. You stopped expecting anything. You told yourself it was easier this way. You convinced yourself you didn't care about birthdays, that they were childish anyway, that you were above such things. But that was a lie, a defense mechanism, a way to protect yourself from the pain of hoping. Because hope is dangerous when you've been disappointed enough times. Hope is the knife that cuts deepest, and somewhere in your mind a decision was made. If you don't celebrate, you can't be disappointed. If you don't invite people, they can't reject you. If you don't acknowledge the day, it can't hurt you. This is the psychology of preemptive abandonment. You leave before anyone can leave you. You disappoint yourself before others can. It feels like control. It feels like safety. However, it is actually a prison you built with your own hands. And the bars are made of every birthday you convinced yourself didn't matter. Every year you told yourself you were fine, but you weren't fine. You were protecting a wound that never healed. A wound that is still bleeding in the dark. Let's go deeper now into the place where shame lives. Where the real reason hides behind all the excuses. You say you don't like attention. That is true. But why? What is it about being seen that terrifies you? It is because being seen means being evaluated, being judged, being found lacking, being exposed as less than enough. When people look at you on your birthday, they see your age, they see the time that has passed. They see what you haven't accomplished, what you haven't become. All the promises you made to yourself that you broke. Every birthday is a mirror. And you don't like what you see reflected back. You see failure. You see wasted time. You see a life that doesn't match the vision you had for yourself. A person who fell short. And when others celebrate you, it feels like mockery. Like they're celebrating someone who doesn't deserve it. An imposter. This is the core of it. The deepest wound. The belief that you are fundamentally unworthy of celebration. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you are. Or more accurately, what you believe you are not. You look at others who love their birthdays, who post photos, who throw parties, who who seem genuinely happy. And you wonder what is wrong with you. Why can't you feel that way? Why does something so simple feel impossible? The answer is brutal. You never learned how to celebrate yourself. You never internalized the belief that you matter. Someone along the way taught you that your needs were selfish, that wanting attention was narcissistic, that being celebrated was arrogant. So you learned to minimize yourself, to take up less space, to apologize for existing, to never ask for more. And now, decades later, even the universe saying, "You were born today," feels like too much attention to accept. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't humility. This isn't modesty. This is self-erasure. This is violence against yourself. You've spent so long making yourself smaller that you forgot you were ever supposed to take up space. You forgot that your birth was a miracle, that your existence changed the world simply by happening. You forgot that you don't need to earn the right to be celebrated. That being alive is enough, and that forgetting, that is the real tragedy. That is the wound that keeps bleeding, year after year after year. Let me tell you about another pattern. One that is even more insidious. One that disguises itself as maturity. You tell yourself birthdays are for children, that adults don't need such trivial celebrations, that you've outgrown that need. But this is a lie you tell yourself to avoid confronting the truth. The truth that you are afraid of disappointment. You are afraid that if you celebrate, no one will come, no one will remember, no one will care enough. So you reject the day before it can reject you. You call it meaningless, before it can prove itself meaningless. This is the psychology of defensive pessimism. If you expect nothing, you can't be hurt. If you want nothing, you can't be denied. But this strategy costs you something precious. It costs you the possibility of joy, the chance of connection. It costs you the experience of being loved simply for existing, not for what you do, for who you are. And every year you skip your birthday, you reinforce the belief that you are not worth celebrating, that you don't matter. You tell yourself it is just one day, that it doesn't mean anything. However, symbols matter, rituals matter, acknowledgement matters. When you erase your own birthday, you are sending a message to your subconscious. You are saying, "I don't count." And your mind listens. It internalizes. It accepts this as truth. And slowly, you disappear from your own life. You become a ghost in your own story. A supporting character. Someone who exists to celebrate others but never themselves. And the cruelest part, you think this makes you noble. You think this makes you selfless. You think this is strength. But it is not strength. It is surrender. It is giving up on the idea that you deserve good things. It is telling yourself that your needs don't matter, that your feelings are irrelevant, that your presence is negotiable. And this belief doesn't stay contained to birthdays. It spreads. It infects every part of your life. You stop asking for raises. You stop setting boundaries. You stop expressing what you need from relationships. Because if you are not even worth celebrating once a year, how could you possibly be worth anything else? This is how birthday avoidance becomes a symptom of something much larger. A fundamental belief in your own unworthiness. Now let's talk about the people around you. The ones who remember, the ones who try to celebrate you anyway. They send you messages, they call you, they want to take you out, and you feel burdened. You feel like they're doing this out of obligation, like they don't really want to, like you are forcing them somehow. So you downplay it, you say, "It is not a big deal." You make it easier for them to forget next year. Because if they forget, you can tell yourself you were right, that you don't matter, that birthdays are meaningless anyway. But what if you are wrong? What if those people genuinely want to celebrate you? What if they see value you can't? What if your inability to receive love is the problem, not their inability to give it? What if you are sabotaging your own belonging? This is the painful truth most birthday avoiders never confront. They think they're protecting themselves, but they're actually isolating themselves. They're building walls around their hearts and calling it strength. They're rejecting connection and calling it independence. They're choosing loneliness and calling it peace. But it is not peace. It is resignation. It is the quiet death of hope, dressed up as wisdom. It is giving up disguised as growing up. And the saddest part, you don't even realize you are doing it. You genuinely believe your reasons are valid. You genuinely believe you are different. That your situation is unique. That your reasons are logical. That your choice is healthy. But step back for a moment. Look at the pattern. Look at what you are actually doing. You are hiding from love. You are hiding from the risk of being seen and still being wanted. You are hiding from the possibility of mattering. Because if you matter to others, you might have to admit you matter to yourself. And that is terrifying. That is the real fear. Not the attention, not the aging, not the parties. The fear of your own significance. The fear that if you are worth celebrating, you are also accountable for your life. You are responsible for your choices. You can't hide behind. It is just one day anymore. You can't pretend you don't need anything. You can't stay invisible, and invisibility feels safe. Insignificance feels comfortable. Not mattering feels like protection, but it is actually suffocation. It is actually dying slowly while still breathing. There is another dimension to this we haven't explored yet. The relationship between birthdays and time itself. Every birthday is a reminder that time is passing, that you are getting older, that death is approaching. For some people, this creates an existential dread that is unbearable. Each candle is a countdown. Each year is a loss. You look at your life and measure it against some imaginary timeline where you should be, what you should have done, and you always fall short, always. Because the timeline was never real. It was a fantasy, a story you told yourself. But now you are 35, 40, 50, and you haven't achieved what you promised yourself you would. You haven't written that book. You haven't traveled the world. You haven't found that perfect relationship. You haven't become the person you thought you'd be. And every birthday forces you to confront that gap. The gap between who you are and who you thought you'd become. Between the life you have and the life you imagined. And that gap hurts. It hurts more than almost anything else. Because it is a confrontation with your own mortality, with the fact that time is finite, that opportunities are closing, that some dreams might never come true. So you avoid birthdays to avoid that confrontation, to avoid looking in the mirror and seeing time passing. But time passes whether you acknowledge it or not. The years go by, the opportunities slip away, life moves forward, and by avoiding your birthday, you are not stopping time. You are just refusing to be present for your own life. You are letting years disappear without marking them, without honoring them, without even noticing they happened. And one day you'll wake up and realize a decade passed, 2 decades, and you weren't paying attention, because you were so busy avoiding the pain of time passing that you forgot to actually live. This is the tragedy of birthday avoidance. It is not just about one day, it is about your relationship with your own existence. It is about whether you are willing to show up for your life, to be present, to mark time, to acknowledge change, or whether you are going to sleepwalk through it, pretending you are not aging, pretending you are not changing, pretending you are not alive. Let's talk about something even more uncomfortable now. The role of depression and mental health in birthday avoidance. For some people, birthdays trigger what is called birthday depression, a very real psychological phenomenon where the day brings crushing sadness. It is not just feeling down. It is a deep, overwhelming sense of emptiness, of futility, of wishing you'd never been born. You wake up on your birthday, and instead of gratitude, you feel resentment, anger. Why am I still here? Why am I still struggling? Why hasn't anything changed? Why does everything still hurt this much? The birthday becomes a reminder that you are still depressed, still anxious, still broken, still unfixed, and everyone expecting you to be happy makes it worse. Because you can't be, you don't know how, so you avoid the whole thing. You don't tell anyone, you don't acknowledge it, you just try to survive the day, and people who haven't experienced this don't understand. They think you are being difficult, they think you are seeking attention, but you are not. You are genuinely in pain, you are genuinely struggling, and their cheerfulness feels like an assault. It feels like they're demanding you perform happiness when you are barely holding yourself together. This is a different kind of birthday avoidance, one that is rooted in genuine mental health struggles. And if this is you, you need to know something. This isn't your fault. Depression lies. It tells you things that aren't true. It tells you that you don't matter, that no one cares, that the world would be better without you. And birthdays amplify those lies. They make them louder. They make them feel more real, more urgent. But they're still lies, even when they feel like truth. Even when you can't see past them. You matter. Your life matters. The world needs you in it, even when you can't feel that truth. And avoiding your birthday won't make the depression go away. It won't fix the problem. It will just leave you more isolated. What you need is help, professional help. Someone who can help you navigate these feelings. Someone who understands, because birthday depression is treatable. The pain can lessen. The lies can quiet. But not if you are suffering alone. Not if you are pretending everything is fine while you are drowning inside. Not if you are avoiding the day and avoiding the help. So if this resonates with you, please hear this. Reach out, talk to someone, get support. You don't have to carry this alone. Now let's shift to something that might surprise you. The cultural and religious reasons some people avoid birthdays. In some traditions, birthdays aren't celebrated at all. They're seen as self-centered, as worldly, as spiritually meaningless. Some religious groups believe that celebrating birthdays is actually wrong, that it is elevating the self above the divine. They point to the fact that the Bible only mentions 2 birthday celebrations, and both ended in death, so they avoid birthdays entirely. Not out of trauma, not out of insecurity, but out of genuine belief. And for these people, the avoidance isn't rooted in pain, it is rooted in conviction, in faith, in cultural identity. This is different. This is a conscious choice based on values, not a defensive reaction based on wounds. But even here, there is complexity. Because sometimes religious reasons mask deeper psychological ones. Sometimes people use their faith as a justification for avoiding something that actually scares them. They say, "My religion doesn't celebrate birthdays," when really, they're afraid of being the center of attention. They say, "It is against my beliefs," when really they don't feel worthy of celebration. The religious reason becomes a socially acceptable excuse, a way to avoid vulnerability, a shield. And there is nothing wrong with having religious convictions, but it is worth examining whether they're genuine or defensive. Are you avoiding birthdays because of your faith? Or are you using your faith to avoid facing something uncomfortable? Only you can answer that question. Only you know what is really happening in your heart. But be honest with yourself, because using faith as a shield isn't actually faith. It is fear wearing faith's clothing. Let's talk about another group now. People who avoid birthdays because they're born near major holidays. Christmas babies. New Year's babies. People born on Thanksgiving or Easter or other significant dates. For them, birthdays have always been overshadowed, combined, forgotten, treated as an afterthought. We'll celebrate your birthday with Christmas. Your birthday present counts for both. Everyone's too busy right now, and year after year, they learn that their day doesn't really matter, that it gets absorbed into something bigger. They learn that their individual existence is secondary to the collective celebration, that they're not special enough to get their own day. So they stop expecting one. They stop asking for one. They tell themselves they don't need one, but deep down there is a child who never got their own birthday, who never felt like they mattered enough. And that child is still inside them, still waiting, still hoping that someday, someone will remember. That someone will say, "Your birthday matters, not Christmas. Not the holiday, you matter." But it doesn't happen. So they bury that hope. They pretend it doesn't hurt. They avoid birthdays altogether. Because if you don't acknowledge it, it can't disappoint you. If you don't expect anything, you can't be let down. This is a specific kind of wound, one that comes from being born at the wrong time. And if this is your story, I want you to know something. Your birthday matters. Even if it is on Christmas. Even if it is on New Year's Day. Even if it falls on the biggest holiday of the year. You deserve your own day. Your own recognition. Your own celebration. Separate from everything else. And just because others have always combined them doesn't mean you have to. You can claim your birthday. You can celebrate it on a different day. You can make new traditions. You can give yourself what others never gave you. But first, you have to believe you deserve it. You have to stop accepting the scraps. You have to demand more. Not from others necessarily, but from yourself. You have to stop settling for being an afterthought in your own life. Let's talk about the moment it became clear. The moment you realized something was wrong. Maybe it was recent. Maybe you turned 30, 40, 50, and no one mentioned it. No one remembered, and you felt relieved. But underneath the relief was something else, something you didn't want to name. Grief, loneliness, the ache of not being known. You got what you wanted, complete invisibility on your birthday. And it felt hollow, empty, like a victory that tasted like ash. Or maybe someone did try to celebrate you. They organized something, they invited people, they made an effort, and you felt anger, resentment. Why didn't they respect your wishes? Why did they force this on you? But underneath the anger was terror. Terror that you'd have to receive love, that you'd have to let people in. Terror that you'd have to confront the part of yourself that desperately wants to be seen, the part you've been starving for years. This is the paradox. You avoid birthdays to avoid pain. However, the avoidance itself creates the deepest pain of all, the pain of never knowing if you are loved, the pain of never testing whether you matter, the pain of self-imposed exile. And you can't keep living like this. You know you can't, but you don't know how to stop, because stopping means vulnerability. Stopping means admitting you were wrong. Stopping means asking for what you need, and that feels impossible. So let me show you how others have done it. Let me show you the path out of this prison. It starts with a simple admission, not to others, to yourself. In the quiet of your own mind, I avoid my birthday because I am afraid. Not because you are mature, not because you are humble, because you are afraid. Afraid of disappointment. Afraid of rejection. Afraid of being seen and still being alone. Afraid of hope itself. Once you name the fear, it loses some of its power. It stops being this vague thing you can't fight. It becomes specific. And specific fears can be addressed, can be confronted, can be slowly, carefully dismantled. The next step is understanding where it came from. Not to blame anyone, but to see the wound clearly. Was it the parent who forgot? The friends who didn't show? The partner who made it about themselves? Was it the birthday that coincided with trauma? The celebration that ended in tears? The disappointment that broke something in you? Find that moment. Sit with it. Let yourself feel the grief, the anger, the loss. Don't push it away anymore, because that wound needs acknowledgement. It needs to be seen by you. It needs your own compassion, your own understanding. You've been running from it for so long that it has grown bigger in the shadows. But when you turn and face it, when you say, yes, that hurt me. Yes, that changed me. Yes, I am still carrying that pain. Something shifts. The wound doesn't disappear. However, it stops controlling you. It stops making all your decisions. It becomes part of your story, not your entire identity. Then comes the hard part. The part where you have to try again. Where you have to risk hope. Start small. Don't throw yourself a massive party. Don't announce it to everyone. Just tell one person you trust. Tell them, it is my birthday next week. Just that. See what happens. See if the world ends. See if they disappoint you. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll forget. Maybe they'll let you down, and that will hurt. But you'll survive it. Because you've survived every disappointment before. You are stronger than you think. More resilient than you believe. More worthy than you know. Or maybe they won't disappoint you. Maybe they'll remember. Maybe they'll care. Maybe they'll show up. And that will terrify you. Because now you have to receive it. You have to let it in. You have to believe them when they celebrate you. And that is harder than any disappointment. That is the real work. Learning to accept love. Learning to believe you are worth it. You might notice something strange happening. When people try to celebrate you, you'll feel the urge to minimize it. To make jokes. To deflect. To turn the attention back on them. This is your defense mechanism activating. It is trying to protect you from vulnerability. From being seen. From mattering too much. But you have to resist it. You have to sit in the discomfort. Let yourself be celebrated. Let yourself be seen. Even when it feels unbearable. Because the only way through this is through. The only way to heal is to let yourself have what you've been avoiding. This is the journey. It is not linear. It is not clean. You'll take steps forward and steps back. There will be birthdays where you retreat again, where the old patterns feel safer, where you want to disappear, and that is okay. Healing isn't about perfection. It is about progress. It is about slowly building new neural pathways, new beliefs, new possibilities. It is about looking in the mirror on your birthday, and instead of seeing failure, seeing survival. Instead of seeing lack, seeing growth. It is about celebrating not what you've accomplished, but what you've endured. Not who you became, but that you are still here. Because being alive is an achievement. Making it through another year is worthy of acknowledgement. Surviving your own mind is heroic. And maybe that is what birthdays are really about. Not about being special. Not about being better than everyone else. But about marking time. About remembering you are mortal. About acknowledging that today, you are still here. You are still breathing. You still matter. The people who love birthdays understand this instinctively. They're not celebrating their own greatness. They're celebrating existence itself. They're saying, I am grateful for another year. Not, I deserve attention. They're saying, I am still here, and that is meaningful. And you deserve to feel that too. You deserve to mark your own existence, to acknowledge your own survival. You deserve to be celebrated not for what you've done, but for who you are. For the battles no one sees. For the days you got out of bed when you didn't want to. For the times you chose to stay when leaving felt easier. For every moment you kept going despite the voice in your head telling you that you weren't enough. That voice lied to you. It has been lying to you for years. And it is time to stop believing it. You are enough. You were always enough. You were enough the day you were born, before you did anything. Before you accomplished anything. Your existence alone is worthy of celebration. Your breath alone is a miracle. Your presence alone changes the world. And every birthday you avoid is another year you deny yourself that truth. Another year you stay small. But you don't have to stay small anymore. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to protect yourself from love anymore. You can step into the light. You can let yourself be seen. You can risk hope again. You can choose differently. It won't be easy. The old patterns run deep. The fear is real. The wounds are still tender. But on the other side of that fear is something you've been searching for your whole life. Belonging, connection, peace. The peace that comes from being fully yourself. The connection that comes from being truly seen. The belonging that comes from believing you are worthy. And it starts with one small act of courage. Acknowledging your birthday. Not making it smaller. Not hiding it away. Just saying, today is my birthday. And letting that be enough. Letting yourself be enough. Letting the moment exist without apology. Maybe you'll celebrate with others. Maybe you'll celebrate alone. Maybe you'll just take the day off and do something you love. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that you stop running. You stop hiding. You stop pretending you don't matter. Because you do matter. Your life matters. Your story matters. Your existence matters. whether you believe it or not. And maybe that is the final lesson. You don't have to believe it for it to be true. Your worthiness isn't dependent on your feelings about yourself. It is not conditional on your accomplishments. It is not earned through perfection. It simply is. You are worthy because you exist. You matter because you are here. You deserve celebration because you are alive. And every birthday you avoid is another year you argue with that truth. Another year you fight against your own value. So here is my question for you. The one that will keep you up tonight, the one you can't escape. What would it mean if you stopped fighting? If you stopped hiding? If you let yourself be celebrated just once without resistance? What would change if you believed, even for a moment, that you are worthy of the space you take up? What kind of life could you build if you stopped apologizing for existing? If you stopped making yourself smaller? Who would you become if you finally let yourself matter? Think about that. Sit with that, because the answer might just change everything you thought you knew about yourself. And maybe, just maybe, your next birthday won't feel like a punishment. Maybe it will feel like an invitation. An invitation to step into your own life, to claim your own worth, to finally, after all these years, come home to yourself. The question is, will you accept it?